So we have understood very important built-in function which is filter. We have seen how do we use filter function along with anonymous function, right? So filter, we just try to filter out whatever required values. Now the other type which is another very important thing is map, because these are very widely used built-in functions. Please mark my words, they will be helping a lot when you are trying to group up any number of statements into your program. So we use map function. Generally, what do you mean by map? A path, right? If you don't know specific location, what do? You open Google Maps, right? So you open Google Maps and you follow it. Sometimes you get some funny things, but it's a guidance, right? In the similar way, we use map function to act on each one of the element, and we can change the elements, because you cannot add two lists. If you add two lists, you can add two lists, that means that is merging. You cannot add each and every element of a list, right? If you give a equal to 1 to 3, b equal to 4 5 6, a plus b doesn't give you 1 plus 4, 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 5. It's wrong, right? That's where we can use map function. We can use map function to take multiple input from a user, right? This is the syntax which we can use, and we use lambda function along with this, and this is some of the simple example if you want to multiply elements inside two lists or two tuples, whatever you try to take. Okay, now let's go for the practice part and understand how do we use map function. Okay, so first let's understand how do we use map function to take multiple input from a user. That's where it plays a very vital role. So let's start with that logic, and then we will go for taking a simple use case. So first let me give you a is equal to, when I go for map function, it expects the function in iterables. I'll write my int built-in function, and I'll just give my iterables as by taking input from a user. Input of enter values. Okay, now to make it simple, I just need to give the values with split function. This is common anywhere. And even let me close this map function, and when you try to give print of a, again same, you'll be getting an map object, but let me show it and prove for you. When I go for map of 1 4 5 7 8, see, you're getting map object. How do you group them? Simple, just you need to pass an iterable over here, that is list or tuple or whatever it is. So when you save and when you execute this, you can pass group of values. Whatever you can give, everything will be stored in list format automatically. It depends on user interest, whether he gave list or tuple or set, whatever it is. Even we can use float inside this, because if the user want to take only float values and that should be formed in tuple, just replace int with float. There you go. The first case is integer only, the second case is float. Suppose if I execute this, let me change the variable names. B is equal tuple of map of and A is equal to list of map of, right? When I save and execute, the first case is only integers. Suppose by mistake I gave float, it's gone, because that is invalid literal for int with base 10, because you need to pass only integers. So just need to be very careful. So 1 4 5 2 6, you got a list, because the first case it's a list, and the next case is even I pass float value, what happens? They'll be stored in the format of float, and in the form of tuple, because we gave tuple of map of. See, we are mapping type of values and with the help of input. We are using 4 built-in functions here, if you clearly see, and 1 built-in function to get the result. So 5 built-in functions. What a wonder, right? So this is what we have seen. With the help of comprehension, we are using same logic, int of x for x in input of. That's what same. You need not worry about the logic. Anything you can give. Suppose this is the way which we have learned previously. This is another way. The more you learn, the better you get comfortable, right? So you need not worry. Whatever logic you want to follow, go ahead for following that. But keep it reliable and keep it simple. Then only it will be easier for you. 1 4 5 6. The list format, A is a list here. The same thing we are giving with the help of map function. That's where we are mapping each and everything. And even you can pass two values also. A comma B is equal to, you can just give directly map. So map of, and make it what is the type of it. int of input of, enter the values and just make it. How do you split them? So never ever forget how do you use split function. That will be very much reliable. Suppose if you don't want to see the above result, and let me make this with quotes, because I need not give any container type whenever we are going for only less value. So when I give print of a comma b, when I save and when I execute this, directly I can see the values 12 and 12, 14 and 12, you can see directly. So this is how you can take multiple input from user by using map function. It's very reliable, right? You see map int input of. If you want float, just take float. If you want string, just give directly str. It is simple, right? This is how you have understood how to take input from a user. Now with the points keeping in this mind, what I'll do is I'll take two lists from a user, and I want two lists from a user. If I want to give list from a user or I'll give list, it is fine. But my use case is I want to get the sum of values inside a list. When I combine these two values, something like 4, 7, 8, 2, if I give a plus b, what happens? Both of them will be combined. It's not my point, right? My point is I need to get each and every value stored into new list. See, I want to see the result as 1 plus 4 is 5. So 5, 11, 13 and 8 stored into a new list. That is my use case. So how do you do generally? If you see, you can go with indexing format. If you remember, we have already discussed the same logic, because if I take a is equal to 1, 2, 4, 5, and what I can do, I can access individual index, right? That's a number. And when I get a number, every operation is possible, right? Arithmetic operation. There you go. With that logic, we can do it. But we don't. But what if the list is of huge values? That is not a correct technique. Then what I can do is, the general formula is, I use my iterators, I use my for loop. So first I create an empty list, and this is also not reliable way, because I will be making it very simple with the help of map function. You will be surprised with that, but mark my words, always believe in the logic and make sure you go good with this logic. So for I in, I need to take up any sequence right here. If I take up a, I don't need to make simple, because I wanted to add those values into a list. So I don't take directly sequence, but I'll take range of length of a. So that is where I give for I in range of length of a, because I can use range function. Length of a, whatever user can give, whether it is 4 or 5 or 10. So range function will start from 0 and ends at n minus 1. There you go. And now, how do you add elements into the list? You use append and extend, right? There you go. So c dot append of, what I need to add? I need to go with each and every element, a of I plus b of I. That's it. So when you go for print of c, when you are inside a for loop, you get each and every iteration. See, 5. What is the first element? You just giving 4 plus 1 as 5. The next one is 7 plus 4, 11, 8 plus 5, 13, 6 plus 2, 8. Wonderful. You got your desired answer. If you want to see direct answer, just keep print outside of the for loop. You will be getting direct result. It's very simple, right? But for that we have used for loop and we have got this thing. But this is not a very reliable way. We need not use control statement every time, because now you have the logic of map function, right? I will be using the same technique here. But what I prefer is, in the starting cases, even if you are using 10 lines of code to get result, it's fine, because you are learning something, you are writing the code on your own. Just rely with that concept. So I'll take c is equal to, just I want to see the result in the format of list, right? So list of map of, what is an anonymous function? You start giving your lambda keyword. What are your arguments? 2 arguments will be, right? You wanted to add the list, each and every element in the list, right? That's it. X comma y is to x plus y. That's it. What are the 2 iterables? A and b. There you go. When you print c, you got the result directly, because This is the expression we are passing into C list with the help of append function a of I plus b of I. Here I am taking each and every argument inside the list. There you go. Whatever your list can be, you get the result. Whether you take input from a user or you define, it's very simple. So this is how we generally use map. This is your anonymous function and these are your arguments. I mean, arguments will be x, y and whatever the arguments, and a comma b are your iterables. If you want to multiply each and every value, you can do it. 4, 28, 40, 12, right? Not configuring. So when I just run it, you can see 428. So you may get a question, what if the length is not equal? You need not worry. You'll be getting only 3 elements because it will not throw the last element because the length is not equal. So for every case, it will be helping you. So just make it simple. Filter and map play a very vital role. If you are good at using those things, then it will be easier because it only depends on the type of sequence you are giving, and it is very reliable and it makes your program very memory efficient. So just try to understand how does this lambda can be used. Your arguments that can be multiple. I have used more than one in the above examples I have told you. Your expression, what you are trying to evaluate, the logic. So just be reliable and concentrate on the logic you are trying to build and what is your problem statement. Then it will be easier to go ahead.